I'm Taylor.
I'm Melissa.
This is our Cinema Romance. Today, what are we talking about?
We're talking about real genius.
Yes.
But more specifically, we're talking about great setups and payoffs.
Is that the best way to describe it? That's what...
I think so.
Because here's what I'm thinking. These are not Back to the Future setup and payoff kind of, like...
No.
This is not... It's not plot related.
Would they be throwaway setups with a great payoff?
Maybe that's it. Even though in some cases the setups are pretty obvious. In today's example, it's not at all. But what they're setting up, we'll talk about it. And then we'll talk about why it's not essential to the plot.
Yes.
But it's still brilliant. So yes, another movie from the 1980s, Real Genius. This is a movie starring Val Kilmer.
William Atherton.
I don't know anyone else in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some familiar faces. Like when you watch it, you might say, I recognize that guy from another 80s movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably going to be from another 80s movie.
The guy that plays the guy in the closet, he's somebody.
Oh, no, he's a big, or I shouldn't say, but he's worked consistently for decades now, and I do not know the actor's name. I could not tell you anything else that he has appeared in, but I know he's appeared in probably hundreds of movies and TV shows at this point.
There is somebody that has a very small part. Writer, producer Dean Devlin, who did Independence Day, has a very small part in this movie, which is just kind of fun when you're watching it. Like, hey, that's Dean Devlin.
Who is he? Is he a student or a teacher?
Yeah, he's the party scene where they go into the pool and there's all this stuff going on. Okay. He's in there. So he's just talking to somebody, but it's like, hey, that's Dean Devlin.
So we are talking about the movie Real Genius. Real Genius, for those who don't know, it's about a guy, Val Kilmer. Well, we're following another character.
Should we first, tell people to like and subscribe and thank you for watching?
I guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, go ahead.
Thank you if you are coming back to watch us again. Thank you so much. If you are watching for the first time, thank you for doing that. Please like and subscribe and comment. Lots of comments are great. We love that.
And I'm being silly, of course. Yes, we do want to mention that. Please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. So, Real Genius, 80s comedy. We're following a character, Mitch. Who is, 13?
15.
15.
15-year-old genius, got accepted to college early. He's very excited to go. Some kind of science genius.
Yes, and he's being mentored by Chris, played by Val Kilmer.
Yes.
Who was Mitch in the previous, generation. At one point early in the movie, somebody's eating popcorn out of a bag. And William Atherton, who is one of Val Kilmer's professors.
You'll recognize William Atherton both from Die Hard and Ghostbusters.
Yes, and he is in 100% William Atherton mode. Even if you didn't recognize him physically, you will recognize the characterization because this is the William Atherton part.
He's very good at this.
Yes, he is. Somebody's eating popcorn and he says, "Oh, get that away from me. I can't stand the smell of popcorn."
And that's
it. That's all you get about William Atherton and popcorn. What happens over the course of this movie? He's got Val Kilmer and now Mitch working on this very, it's I don't know if
it's for the defense industry. They don't know that though. He's
well, that's That's I was trying to remember how he positioned it to them. That they were
not
I don't
as
think
a
it
weapon.
was top secret.
No. He was saying they're developing it for something else, and then at a certain point they start wondering why.
Yeah, they
need
realize, or
that?
it's once they do. Okay, so the thing that he wants them to build is this massive laser. See, we're skipping over all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not really. We're not here to talk about the plot, but you need to know a little bit of the plot to appreciate the payoff. They're developing this laser. They're finally able to do it. This super powerful laser, And then Val Kilmer and Mitch are sitting around celebrating with some of their other classmates and friends, including the guy in the closet. There's a guy who lives in their closet. They share a dorm room, and there's a guy who lives in their closet, and it's treated just as a joke initially, but this guy has actually built this elaborate tunnel system and like this conveyor system to move him through it.
Yep.
He's the one who actually says, like, think about it. You've got this massive laser, like huge energy output, but it can only be sustained for a brief amount of time. All you need is a targeting system, and you could evaporate a target from space. And that's when they realized we had made a weapon. And the guy in the closet, the reason he lives in a closet is because something similar had happened to him. He was, before Val Kilmer, he was the previous generations like Einstein, Hawking, and he had developed technology that was being used in an unintended way, and the guilt basically turned him into a recluse. So they have to salvage this whole situation. The way they do it, they break into the military base where they're going to launch the plane, and they change the coordinates for the test to William Atherton's house. Okay, now here's the thing. This is a good one to start with because it's important to distinguish between this and, again, the kind of payoffs that you get in something like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Back to the Future, all the payoffs are plot related. The clock tower, all the stuff about his parents. Like, there's some throwaway fun stuff, but it really is centered on the plot. The plot of Real Genius, which I have just outlined, doesn't require anything about popcorn.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get back at William Atherton by destroying his house. All they have to do is point the laser at his house, and it destroys his house. He had just built his house. It was his dream home. That's not enough. They get, and
it's a great payoff.
I'm going to go back to the second act for just a little bit because one of the great, what I think is one of the most important lessons about the second act, when you do the second act well enough, you don't have to be as logically rigid in the third act. In addition to breaking into a military base and changing all these coordinates, like everything that they had to do to prep for that, they have managed to take, several 100 pounds of popcorn? And put it inside a foil ball.
Let's, we should unpopped popcorn.
Unpopped
popcorn.
And they put it inside his house.
So, like, a giant Jiffy Pop, one of those things that you put over the heat. One of those, like, I would say probably, like, outdoor, like, pool size, that they put in his house. All this unpopped popcorn with all this tinfoil over it. So at first you don't know what you're looking at. It's a whole thing.
How did they do it?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The laser hits it. Heats up, actually hits a window on the house so that it focuses and then starts heating the popcorn. Okay, there's like the sight gag of this. Yeah. Like I honestly
so much popcorn.
I would have to look up how they did this. Obviously, some of the shots are a model.
No, but it's like popcorn is breaking the windows.
The stories separate.
Yeah.
Like the first and second floors of the house come apart and they're like
it's
like
kind of
sliding around.
It reminds me of the Blob, but with popcorn. It's just spreading and throwing and
pouring out
popping.
The windows.
Yeah.
Like I want to say there's a chimney and it's coming out. Like it's just, it's popcorn coming literally out of the seams of this house.
I want to say there's even like parts where like kids are running down and like getting cups of.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. And like a crowd is gathered while they're watching the destruction of this house.
And this guy, it was just a throwaway line. Oh, get that away from me! I can't stand.
Yeah, I can't stand popcorn. I can't stand the smell of popcorn. That's the setup. This is the gag for the end of the movie, and it was set up. And again, the plot. All they had to do was destroy his house. They could have destroyed his house any number of ways.
But with popcorn.
But they did it this way
Yeah.
And it's just superfluous, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. If you haven't seen Real Genius, it's a good movie.
It's very watchable. I want to say there were a lot of like science kid movies at like one time in the 80s. Like there was the one like the Philadelphia Experiment.
Or the Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan Project.
Was the one about the kid who made an atomic bomb.
Yes. And there was another one.
Matthew Broderick made one with the chimpanzee. Project X,
Project
I think.
X. There was a Weird Science.
Weird Science.
Well, there was one
course.
actually called My Science Project that came
That's
out
right.
around the same time. And so
And for that matter, War Games. I mean, he's kind of a science genius in that.
So there was a lot of like science kid movies all at once at this one point in the 80s, and I want to say Real Genius got kind of overlooked. I think a lot of people saw it when it came on video.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't a big hit in the theaters, but it's definitely worth seeing, and the popcorn scene is great.
I mean, if you're good with the 80s comedies,
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy Real Genius. It hits all the it hits all the beats the way it's supposed to.
And there's some funny things with them putting like receivers in people's braces. So
Can't
they think that a higher power is talking to him through his braces. So they do some creative things, and Val Kilmer's really a cutie in it, and it's pre Iceman.
It's before Top Gun.
It's before Top Gun.
I guess it. Oh yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's really fun, and he's got a lot of star quality.
Yeah.
He's very appealing.
It is the kind of performance where when you watch it, it's I see why this guy broke out.
Yeah.
He does have a lot of charisma, a lot of presence on screen.
So it's very entertaining.
Something else that's worth, because we watched it again fairly recently, watched it with our children who surprisingly liked it.
Yeah.
Or liked it more than I expected them to.
Yeah.
But something that I noticed, there is a character that is almost definitely on the spectrum. But this was before we had a spectrum.
Yeah, so they just have her as quirky girl, but her quirks are extremely spectrumy.
I mean, I think that it is a depiction of someone on the autism spectrum before we had the autism spectrum. Like, I think that I don't know the background of this, and this is probably something that I should have looked into, but I don't know if maybe the writer knew someone who was autistic. Again, this is when we were first, Rain Man had not come out yet.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't know what autism was.
Yeah.
It's she's the girl in the friend group, and I think it's a very neat characterization in that it is so respectful before they knew what they were respecting.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So
there's it's definitely a fun movie. It's not perfect. It's not a great film, but it's very entertaining. Definitely worth. I think it's worth your time if you're in the mood for that kind of silly 80s movie.
I mean, does anyone have examples of this? We've got a few more examples. Yeah. We've got at least one more that I consider the ultimate example of this. But we're not going to talk about that yet. The other example that I'm thinking of.
And we will talk about that movie another time, I'm sure.
But again, it's not it's part of the plot.
Yeah. But
not the way they do it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do it the way they do it. So if you have examples of something like this, and whether it's plot related or not plot related, and I'll give you another, I don't think it is as successful, and I don't remember the name of the move, Blades of Glory. Will Ferrell with the move that they have to do at the end where he's literally shaving the guy's neck.
Yeah.
As he spins around.
Yeah, no, he keeps talking about this one thing and then they do it at the end.
Yeah, this one nearly impossible move.
The only way we can get the score we need is with this move. Yeah, it's very funny.
So, examples like that of this kind of thing, or if you have, it's I wonder if this would qualify. Let us know, and we will think about it and probably talk about it.
Also, I want to thank we had some people reach out to us after our list show that we did 2 weeks ago, and so it was really fun kind of hearing some other movies that you might think that should be on our list. We had fun doing that show, and we'll probably do more of them, so always love to see your lists as well, so thank you.
Yeah, exactly. We're probably gonna there was one comment in particular that pointed out how, with the exception of Get Out, I guess, all of our, we even realized
Like,
nothing from the
nothing is
90s,
recent.
nothing
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
80s. It was 70s and earlier.
So we will definitely have some focusing on the 80s and 90s and aughts and 2010s. So,
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, we do have, like,
I started putting together a list of
Yeah.
like some of our favorite horror movies just of the like new millennium.
Yeah.
And ran out of room.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to just have like horror edition of our cinema romance, like because
Is it gonna be our horror romance when it's all said and
our
done?
horror romance. Yeah, I don't know.
We're trying to change it up. Got Real Genius this
Yeah,
week. We
it's
had
a little
game
different,
night.
it's not that scary, yeah.
So in the meantime, please do like and subscribe. I'm Taylor.
I'm Melissa.
This is our cinema romance.
Bye.